And so here I would like to introduce to you Amy Klobuchar, the future senator of Minnesota. Welcome, Amy. I remember Meg Hatch told me don't count until the eggs will hatch, but I am sure the eggs will hatch.
Eid Mubarak. Wasn't bad. Thank you so much for having me today, and to Dr. Mohammed Osman Fadal and his wife, thank you for being here, and Senator Bergwin and Representative Clark, as well as my friend Juan Lopez, and my husband John is here, right there. And our daughter Abigail, who's 11 years old. You may have heard me talk about her before. She goes to school at Tuttle School and before that at Pratt School, and has a lot of Somali children in her class, and a lot of good friends that are Somali. And my favorite pictures are the pictures of her and her friends she brings home a picture. She says, "This is me and my friends," and it'll be her and these very tall Somali girls who are twice her height. But they've been wonderful to her at her school. And I've had so many wonderful opportunities to work with your community in hard times when we had those tragic shootings of the Somali cab drivers, and we made sure we brought justice and that those men that committed those crimes went to prison. We also have worked with you in much better times and at celebrations of the Somali Independence Day and other things. And today, we're here to talk about the election, which, as you know, is, 11 days away? And we are very excited for our state and for the relations with Somaliland and how this is going for our campaign. I come from a family of immigrants. My grandpa worked 1,500 feet underground in the mines in Ely, way up in northern Minnesota. And I have many cherished stories of the immigrants in our family and how they came over and made a better life for themselves. And it's something I know that your community shares as well. We have built our campaign on really that immigrant idea of hard work, that if you work hard, you can get ahead in this country and you can do well. And one of the reasons I'm so upset with what's going on in Washington today is how they have failed to honor hard work. You know, how they have taken a budget surplus that we could use for education and for Social Security and other things to help our community and turned it into a budget deficit. And I think we need to fix that. We've also talked about how important it is to have an even playing field and be fair to the citizens of this country. That means comprehensive immigration reform. It means affordable health care. And it's something I think about every day in my job, because when we prosecute people who are rich and well-connected, the courtroom is packed with their friends. And people always call me and say, "He's such a good guy. I know he stole $1 million from his employees, but he's a great guy." Then when we prosecute someone who's poor or middle class or not as well connected, they're lucky if their mom can take the day off work and stand behind them in the courtroom. And I figure that my job is to even the playing field, to do my work without fear or favor. And I think we need more of that today in Washington, D.C. The final thing we've been talking about is responsibility and how it is important to have a responsible energy plan for this country, but that it's also important, and it's about responsibility, that you don't go to war when you don't have a plan. I oppose this war from the beginning, and good people can differ on the war in Iraq, but I believe that now it's time to change course and to use diplomacy and try to help this country, which is basically in the middle of a civil war. This is the major issues in our country this time, and I think the good thing about this election is that it's bringing people together across the state, across geographic lines, across ethnic lines, and everyone is working together and believe that we need to see change in Washington. We've been having a lot of fun on the campaign trail. I heard you talk about going to, 10 towns or 11 towns? I have gone to 87 counties now. All the counties, every county county in our state, and we've had events there, and we've eaten everything from things that you wouldn't even believe. We've eaten pizza to kolaches. We ate squirrel. Let's see, it's unbelievable, the food everywhere in the state. So we've been having a lot of celebrations across the state. And this is really about change. We're very happy with how it's going. We've been ahead in every public opinion poll ever taken in this race. And my opponent, if you've seen the TV, has been doing a lot of negative campaigning and negative attacks. But the people are tired of that. That's not what they want to talk about in this election. They want to see change in Washington. There's an old story of a famous president from our country named Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And when he was sick, and he knew he was going to die, people talked to him about his funeral, and he said, I don't want a fancy funeral because people are still hurting in this country. And so they took his body when he died and they put it on a train, and they took the train to Washington, D.C., and then to New York, where he was from. And people lined the tracks to show their respect, just ordinary people. And this one guy was standing by the track with his hat in his hands, and this reporter came up to the guy, and he said, why are you here? And the guy said, well, I'm here to show my respect for the president. And then the reporter said, well, did you know President Roosevelt? And the guy says, no, I didn't know President Roosevelt, but President Roosevelt knew me. And that's what's missing. That's what's missing today in Washington, D.C., when they're not listening to the concerns of so many people in this country. You know, when they can stand in front of the press and say, well, you reporters are the only one that care about Iraq. Real people in the real world don't care about Iraq. Well, they haven't met the mom up in northern Minnesota whose child's going on a second tour in Iraq and she can't sleep for 5 days. Or the man who comes to our events and drives 100 miles to go there and cries every time someone asks a question about the war because his kid was killed over there. And they haven't talked to the wonderful people in your community and the parents that I've talked to at my daughter's school when they say hateful things about immigration and immigrants. And they haven't talked to the college students who are working 2 jobs just to go to college because the tuition at the university has gone up 80% in just the last 7 years. Those are real people in the real world. And I can tell you this, with your support and your help, I will tell you that I will never rest until you'll be able to say, Amy Klobuchar knows me. So I want to thank you for your support and all the help you've given to me and the other candidates. This is such an important election. It's a turning point for our country. And it's a week from Tuesday. So you please go and you talk to people and you organize people house by house and street by street and town by town, and you get your people out to vote. Remember how Paul Wellstone would win his elections. He would get people out to vote. He would organize. I remember the last time I saw Paul and Sheila, it was a gathering of immigrants, of new citizens to our country, and I know how much he loved your community. And this group, there were about 30 new citizens. They were from Russia. And I was there with Sheila, and it was just about 2.5 weeks before this major election. And the 2 of us were there together, and it was late, and we were telling stories of the immigrants and our own past, and all of a sudden in walked Paul. And he wasn't supposed to be there because he got in a plane early, and he got in from Washington, D.C. And so he surprised her, and he was there with these new immigrants. And I always thought to myself, I know why he's here. He was there because he loved Sheila, and he missed her so much. But he was also there because he embraced the immigrant experience. He embraced this idea that no matter where you are from, that you can pull yourself up in this country and do well. And no one exemplifies that better, from my experience in Hennepin County, than the Somali community. Thank you so much.